I can actually hear the trolls right now. Like, if I listen carefully, I can hear people screaming and laughing, ha ha, Arsenal are not in the Champions League. Yes, I know, and it sucks. Arsenal are not in the Champions League this year, but I still wanted to talk about the group stages. You can see at the moment we've got Group A and Group B at the bottom. We're going to slowly go through all the groups and discuss my thoughts, really. But yes, straight away, I know Arsenal are not in there, and yes, you've got permission to troll me in the comments, because I know that's coming anyway. So let's just get straight into it. The Champions League this year is going to be very interesting. Can Madrid win it again? Can they? Can they really? I think they probably can. But let's talk about the groups first. Group A, we've got Benfica, Man United, Basel, and of course, a Russian team. Every single year. It feels like Man United play Moscow a lot. CSKA, I don't know. It's one of those fixtures that you recognise every year because it's one of those terrible trips, isn't it? A trip to Russia is really tough for an English team. So I kind of feel for United, even though actually I think that group is quite friendly. It's not too bad. When I say friendly, I mean it's not like they're with Madrid, Dortmund, really tough clubs, which you're going to see coming up. Another team from England does have those two. Group B is Bayern, PSG, Anderlecht and Celtic. Nice group. I feel for Celtic and I feel for Anderlecht. But PSG, Bayern, that is going to be so nice. So let's talk about these groups. Benfica, Man United, Basel and CSKA. Other than what I've just said, the fact that Man United, we're going to be talking about them a lot, of course. First time in the Champions League in a little while. They have got to travel to Portugal, which isn't too bad. Then Basel in Switzerland. And then, of course, Russia, which is going to be a tough one. I think Man United will finish top of this group. No problem. I think Benfica will probably finish in second. And I don't know about Basel and CSKA. I think they could both equally be near the bottom. So I don't think it's too bad for Man United at all. I think actually they can afford to, rest key players for these games if they absolutely need to. Especially the away games. Maybe get a few of the kids out. I don't know. It shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it could be. You just don't know, do you? Group B though is a lot closer. I think Bayern and PSG, they're going to be, very, very close. I think Bayern, they're definitely not as good as they were maybe 2 or 3 years ago in the Champions League. And PSG, it's their ultimate goal. They win the French League or have won the French League a lot over the last few years, although they didn't last year. And, they want the Champions League probably more than anyone. They really need it. The amount of money they've invested in that squad over the last decade. So I think PSG might just edge it. I think that they've actually been pretty good in the Champions League. Well, the earlier stages. I think when the tournament gets on a bit, that's when they seem to struggle. We saw it last year. I think Bayern is still very strong. They've made some great signings in Tolisso. I think that he will do well for them this year. And I'm pretty sure, both those teams will go through very easily. I think Celtic and Anderlecht, they're going to have a really tough time. So let's drag up this image here and have a look at C and D as well. So C is Chelsea, Atletico, Roma and Karabag. I'm probably saying that one wrong. They're going to finish bottom, that's for sure. I think, Chelsea, Atletico, Roma is really interesting. That is going to be incredibly close. I think they're all very good teams. I think Roma is probably on the edge of being, the third best in that group. And then Atletico and Chelsea fighting for the top spot. I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say Atletico are going to finish top of that group just because I know they're seriously hard to beat. They really are. And I think Chelsea, they're going to have a hard year adjusting to being back in Europe. Although they've probably got the best squad. They do have the best squad in that group, I would say, and should finish top. I'm just going to say Atletico. I think they will probably just about nick it. And I think, sadly, Roma will not make it through that group unless, one of the other two teams I mentioned struggles, which could happen. Group D is, normally it's group of death. Group D, death. It really isn't this year. I think Juventus and Barcelona will probably destroy that group. I think Olympiacos, although, again, it's kind of a difficult away fixture. They've been very consistent at home over the years. Just don't see them beating anyone there. Maybe Sporting. And I don't think Sporting are going to be that good either. They've got a good squad, don't get me wrong, and they compete in Portugal. But Barcelona, Juventus, I can't see anything other than those two progressing through. But in terms of who's going to win the group, I'm going to go with Juventus. I think Barcelona are going to struggle this year, even though they've signed Dembele today. It's official, he has been signed. He's not Neymar. He just isn't. And their squad is aging. Next year it's going to get even worse unless they invest. So for me, Juventus will probably go through quite easily there. Let's go on to E and F. So Group E, it's got Liverpool in it, and that's exciting. It's gonna be interesting to see how Liverpool get in. But Spartak, meh. Sevilla, very good team in Europe over the years, and Maribor. You could say Liverpool got a little bit lucky there, just like United do pretty much every year. Just saying. I think Liverpool probably win that group along with Sevilla finishing in second. I think Sevilla, they've got a lot of experience in the Europa League, which is considerably easier than the Champions League, but they could do well. I think Spartak and Maribor will, of course, go out. I think Liverpool and Sevilla will comfortably progress. And I'm excited to see Liverpool and Man United back in the Champions League. I was already talking about how it's disappointing that Arsenal are in there, but in a way, it's kind of nice. In a strange way, it's going to be nice watching Champions League games, not worrying about Arsenal. I can just enjoy the games as a neutral. In Group F, very interesting one. We've got Shakhtar Donetsk, we've got Man City, Napoli, and Feyenoord. I mean, that's a pretty good group. I mean, I'm interested to see how that one goes. I think Shakhtar can be a dark horse. They really do have, in the past, they've had some great players that have obviously moved on, but they still have a bit of a dark horse aura about them. I think Shakhtar might do okay, but Man City and Napoli, they're a level above them. Feyenoord obviously won the Dutch league last year, so they could be contenders in that group. But Man City, Napoli, they play very, very good football. Both teams, Napoli especially, they've got a great way of playing now, and I don't see them being knocked out, especially not in the group stages. So I'm going to go with City winning that group and Napoli in second. And Shakhtar and Feyenoord, in other groups they might have had better chances of going through. I just don't see it with City and Shakhtar. So now Group G. That's it, isn't it? Of course, yeah. So we've got the whole image on screen now. There we go. So Group G, it's interesting. Monaco, Porto, Besiktas, and Leipzig. Leipzig, I think they're going to have a tough season. I think last year was obviously incredible with them doing so well in the Bundesliga, but can they realistically do that again? I think they probably can. They've managed to keep most of their players so far. They've reinforced players like Bruma coming in. I think he'll do well for them. But in the Champions League, it's a different story. I think Monaco, of course, they've lost a lot of players, similar to Leipzig. They had a very good season last year. Are they going to be able to replicate that? Besiktas, could be dark horses as well. They've brought in some good players this season, including Pepe, one of the most experienced defenders in the world. And Porto, you can never rule Porto out. So I think Group G is actually probably the most underrated group of the tournament. That's going to be very interesting. But now we move on to Group H. This is going to be fun. Real Madrid, Dortmund, and Spurs, and then Apoel. Okay, we can just rule Apoel out. Sorry if you think Apoel are brilliant and that you support them maybe, but they do not have a chance. I can imagine that when they're playing at home, it's a bit of a tricky fixture for the other three teams. They might end up playing a few kids or reserves and just think, yeah, it doesn't matter, it's Apoel. And then maybe they scrape a point or two, but come on. There is only one team that is not picking up a win in that group, and that is Apoel. I just don't see it. Real Madrid are going to storm this group. They are. I think they're a level above every other team in Europe right now. I think they're the winners for me already. Honestly, I know it's way too early to say that, but Madrid just looks so strong this year. So I think it's really about that second spot, whether it's Dortmund or Tottenham. I'm going to say Tottenham. I think that Dortmund losing Dembele is a big loss for them, but of course they managed to keep Aubameyang. They might bring in some more players by the end of the window, but Dortmund, I don't know what to think about Dortmund at the moment. They have got a great team, but a lot of them are very young players. A lot of them maybe not experienced enough to take on Madrid and Tottenham, and I think Tottenham will have another good year. I know they're playing at Wembley as their home stadium, and that's a little bit weird right now, but I think that will come good. I think they'll be fine eventually, so I'm going to go with Madrid winning every single match they play, finishing with 18 points. Hang on, how many games do they play? It's 5, so it's 15 points you can finish with. I think Tottenham will finish in second. They'll probably lose 2 games, and that's against Real Madrid. I don't see them beating Madrid. So, if I was to predict, the next stage, you're looking, let's go from Group A. So I think it's going to be Man United and Benfica going through, with Bayern and Paris going through Group B. I think Chelsea and Atletico are going to go through in C. Group D, Juventus, Barcelona. Group E, I'm going to go with Liverpool and Sevilla. Group F, I'm going to go City, Napoli. Group G, I'm going to go probably Monaco, Porto. Maybe Monaco, Besiktas. I just don't see Leipzig doing well for some reason. And then Group H, I'm going to go Madrid, Tottenham. And I think Real Madrid are going to go all the way. That's my prediction for the Champions League. I can see the final maybe being Juventus and Madrid again, maybe PSG or Bayern. I don't think... Oh, it could be Chelsea, actually. I think Chelsea might do good this year. Really depends how they adjust to not having, so much time during the week off like they had last year. But anyway, that's my yearly Champions League group stages video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And, I've probably said some things that can change. This is just a prediction video. I'm still calling it, though. Madrid, they're going to win again. I don't see another team beating them. But thanks for watching, guys. If you've enjoyed it, leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. A new career mode is dropping in 20 hours or so as I'm recording this. So if you're excited for a new career mode, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you then.